So, and here we go. So, it's been a little bit of a minute since I made a video here on Substack, and also I haven't been able to publish as much as I've wanted to over the past month. It isn't that I haven't been writing; it's just that I haven't published it for a variety of reasons. Some of which, some of the stuff I'm still processing, and I like to kind of put stuff out after I finish processing it. And then the other reason is because I've been really kind of leaning into the difference between transparency and vulnerability. Um, I'm pretty good at being transparent. I almost don't even know how not to be transparent. I generally have to put in some effort to keep myself from being overly transparent. Um, but I see my daughter is joining this video, my only other viewer at this point. But the reason why I'm doing this live is one to just kind of catch folks up. I've been doing a lot of creativity and writing over the past month. A lot of the writing has been published, and I've been doing some public speaking engagements. I've done some stand up comedy. I produced a stand up comedy show. I have spoken at 3 different spiritual centers. I've done a couple of community engagement events, and all of those things seem like they're all over the place because it's one guy. Like I just did an event in Boulder just a few days ago, and one person said, "Weren't you doing comedy at the radio station last week?" And another person was like, "Hey, I came out here because you were speaking at my spiritual center 2 weeks ago." And it's really comes down to people, like everything that I'm doing, whether it's in a comedy setting, whether it's in a spiritual setting, whether it's in a civic engagement setting. I was in Atlanta a couple weeks ago participating in something called 22nd Century Initiatives, trying to, I guess, save this democracy if we even have a democracy. But all of those things have been about people, man. I've grown up in some very interesting circumstances. I grew up like my dad's an immigrant, my mom's black, my stepmom is white and like trailer park type white. I'm talking about my first stepmom, my first of 3 white stepmoms. I've had a lot of complicated history, and throughout that history, I've been watching how people move in spaces and how a lot of us, through trauma boxes that have been created by often by the people that we feel love us, have made us contain the way we show up in the world. And what I would love to invite as many people as possible to do is to question those boxes, to understand that sometimes we create those boxes for a reason, to protect ourselves. And there's times to do that. And there's times to get out of the box. And it grieves me, whether it should or shouldn't, to see so many of us living in our boxes as a way of life, that we don't know when to take the box or get out of the box. So we just live in it all the time. And then we tell people, like, if you want to be in a relationship with me, you got to get in this box. And the person on the other end is like, well, if you want to be in a relationship with me, then you got to get in my box. This is not how we're meant to live. And yet it has become normalized. And what we do is we just try to make our boxes seem more flashy or more attractive. We try to make our boxes better, but we miss out on living our real lives. And that is tremendously sad to me. And I wish that I knew how to not give a crap about y'all, but I don't know how not to. In fact, I was meditating this morning and just kind of asking myself some questions. And one of the things that arose for me is I don't know how to be separate. Not separate like in the, like, I don't know how to be separate like in the toxic, codependent. I got to be around somebody all the time because I really enjoy being by myself in my private time. But what I mean by not knowing how to be separate is I know for a fact that all of us are connected to one another. All of us are. There's really nothing we can do to not be connected to one another. And yet we build all these systems and all these things around this illusion of separation. And we do all this stuff to try to maintain these illusions of separation. And all it's doing is making us miss out on life. We're missing out on all the joy that's available, all the curiosity that's available, all the creativity that's available. And I am trying my best with whatever breath I have and whatever life I have to live as openly as I possibly can, as freely as I possibly can. Not because I'm trying to tell people how to be, but as an invitation to you. I want you to experience you. I have come from a space where people tried to restrict me and tell me who I was and how I had to be. And by grace, I got kicked out of that space. I ain't even asked to get kicked out, but I got kicked out. And when I got kicked out, I was blessed to find parts of myself that I was told I wasn't supposed to experience. And so as a gift, I want to invite other people to do that. That's why I do comedy. That's why my project's called the Liberation Comedy Project, because I want us to laugh and be liberated, because I know that when we laugh, our breath gets unstuck. And a lot of us have constricted breath because we are living in these cramped box spaces that we weren't meant to be contained in. And I just want to live as an invitation for us to step out of those. So even though it's only a few of us up here right now, if you didn't have the time to type in the chat, will you put something in here of something that you would love to have unstuck in your life? It doesn't have to be anything huge. It could be like maybe you want to sing and you don't let yourself sing, or maybe you want to be in a relationship but you're scared of getting hurt. Whatever it is, I'm just going to put that out there. If you want to put something in the chat about something that you want to get unstuck in your life, because that's essentially what I'm here for. Um, when I write, I always write. I try to center myself in a future where all people are liberated, and I try to write from that future. I try to center myself in this awareness that all people can look back and say, remember when we didn't know how to love each other? Remember those days? I'm so glad those days are over. And here's what we can learn from each other now that we have gotten out of these boxes and stepped out in this world. I know there's a lot of things that's happening right now, especially in America, that is giving many of us pause and is getting our breath stuck in our chest because we don't know how to engage with each other across differences. We're seeing, in my opinion, a crazy person just being crazy. And I'm not even blaming this person, because I feel like he fell for everything that could be fallen for in terms of the illusions that we put forth out here. And now he's living into them. And a lot of people are going along with it because they all were taught, hey, freedom is being able to do whatever you want without consequences. But that's not true. Freedom actually enjoys consequences, because consequences actually teaches you how to live into your power more fully and how to be better into relationships more fully. Like if you've been a parent like I am, you know that you're going to make mistakes and bump up against your kids' personalities and all these other things and learn from that. And there's consequences on their end, on your end, but you grow and you get closer to each other over time. My daughters are both super powerful. One of them's up here right now. My daughter's super powerful. And sometimes we bump into each other's differences, but then we grow through them and learn through them. Sometimes it's a smooth growth, sometimes it's a bumpy growth, but there's consequences to relationships. But that freedom comes out of those consequences, a greater freedom, because you get to know the person more. You get to understand what bothers them, what they enjoy. And if we didn't have consequences, we wouldn't know any of these things. So this illusion that freedom is being able to do whatever you want without consequences is one of the number one lies that is really messing us up. And but I bring that up to say that when we see these things, a lot of us choose to restrict. We get triggered because of whatever traumas we had growing up. And so we shut down and we don't try to keep engaging in what's happening in this world. We go, oh shoot, I don't want this to happen to me. I don't want people to think this about me. And we get trapped because probably when we were pre-verbal, somebody told us how to be in the world. And we see all this maniacal things happening and it triggers us and we just restrict and go right back to our child selves where we can't express ourselves. And I'm saying, no, don't do that. Just take this time to discern, to learn who can communicate and who's interested in learning more about you, who you're interested in learning about more. We're not going to be able to get along with everybody. That's an illusion as well. I mean, I guess in theory it could happen, but many people are so traumatized. And some of those people that you think are living the life are the most traumatized. Like, I don't think there's a person, whatever happened to Orange Julius Caesar, whatever happened to him is deep, is painful, and no one's getting in there anytime soon. But that doesn't mean we gotta lock ourselves up. We need to find people who are open and start to share with each other, start to laugh with each other, start to open up with each other. Like just last week, was it even last week? Just a few days ago, I did this thing called Brave Conversations with the city of Boulder, where I live, or in this community where I live. And the first B in Brave stands for breathe, because a lot of times when we get triggered, we stop breathing. We just shut down. And so we wanted to teach the community how to breathe together, because once you breathe, you can start engaging. And then after that, there's different steps. I'm not going to go through all the steps. Maybe I'll host something where I go through more of the steps. But step one is enough. My dad used to say, if you can control your breath, you can control your life. And whoever controls your breath controls your life. So if you go on television and you see that person doing what that person does, and you catch yourself not being able to breathe, that means you're letting that person control your life. Don't do that. Find people that you can breathe with. When you have time, breathe with yourself. Open yourself up and start to make room to inside of yourself, so that then you can have more expanded relationships, more expanded community. That's the invitation. And everything that I do, whether it seems like I'm like, he's doing comedy one day, preaching in a church another way, it's all the same thing. It's all an invitation to breathe and to be you and to be in relationships and to enjoy being human, because it really is amazing. Even when things are crazy, it's amazing. Because if you can pause, like this morning, I woke up, I was a little stressed. I was a little stressed because I'm living an interesting life right now. But was able to take the time to get up and to start trying to meditate. And then as soon as I sat down, I said, I'm gonna meditate, because no one else is up. Then my wife got up, and then my dog got up and jumped on the couch and started crawling on me. And for a second, I was like, no, I need some space. But then I said, you know what? Let me just take the little breaths that I can take in between my dog climbing on me. And I was able to still get centered. And then somehow my wife, she decided she was going to meditate too. And then she told my dog, go sit in the dog bed. And then my dog went and dogitated, or whatever dogs do when they're not moving around. And it all happened, but it happened after I let myself breathe and get centered again, and to connect with my breath, which did get shortened when I started experience like a moment of lack, because I thought I was going to have this time. And then I thought, oh man, I just sat down. But then I still got the time. And out of that time, I got inspired to come out here and to catch up with all of you. I have like, I don't know how many posts I have on Substack right now, but I have just as many in the drafts, some of which are pages and pages long, because I write every single day. But as it's been getting stuck, and I had to find a space in this morning, I said, you know what, I'm gonna make a video, get my rhythm back up with my Substack folks, and then I'm gonna put out something I've been working on. I have many things I've been working on, but one of them is my life is none of my business, which I've had to really learn to embrace in the past, few months. That there are many things that my directions that my life takes me that I don't choose. I choose to go along with it when the thing shows up, but they just happen, and then something miraculous happens, but I wouldn't know if I didn't go down that road that I didn't choose. And so I want to share about that. I have been working on this thing called We, which is WE, like us, born out of some interviews that I had with my dad before he died. Um, and actually, I should, while I'm being transparent and vulnerable, throw out there that one of the things that's been throwing off me publishing my writing is I've been revisiting my relationship with my dad recently, because I spoke at a Unity Spiritual Center on Father's Day. And the only reason I said yes was precisely because it was Father's Day. And I knew it was going to bring up some stuff that I probably had buried under there. And so I said, okay, I probably have some stuff buried underneath with my dad, with some unconscious daddy issues. So I've faced a lot of stuff with my relationship with my father ever since I was like 15 years old when I let him off the hook for not being able to be the dad I wished he was. So I let him off the hook a long time ago, but it's still got to process stuff. And so when I said yes to speaking at the spiritual center on Father's Day, I also started listening to the audios of me recording my dad um, before he died, and it brought up some other stuff. And I was surprised at some of the things that were underneath there. And one of the things that was underneath there was that my mom, she wasn't always kind to my dad because of the choices he made to leave us and marry somebody else and move to another state and all these things, which not the awesomest thing in the world to do. But one of the good things she used to say about him was, "But he sure could pay those bills." And and so I identify with paying bills as being a good father. And because of the society, the situation that we're in right now, the organization that I work with has less funding. And so I had to be a lot more creative in accomplishing my goals and paying my bills. And my dad used to work like hours and hours and hours and hours, man. I used to go visit him for the summer, and this dude would work overtime and just leave me in the house and say, "Oh, I got to make that paycheck," you know. And so when my ability to pay my bills wasn't as consistent as it had been, it was the one thing that I could say I connected with my dad on. And that brought up some issues, and honestly, it brought up some issues. And I had to navigate those. And a lot of my writing has been emerging out of that tension and out of that pain essentially. And so I've been wanting to make sure that because I do try to write as an invitation to liberation and freedom, I don't want to spill my trauma on people. And so, unless it's effective in helping people live more fully into their lives. And so, I've written so much, but I haven't shared it as much because I want to make sure that when I do write it, that the turnaround is an invitation for you to live more fully into you. Because whoever you are, Carol, I see you up here. Callista, my daughter, I see up here. Phil, Virgo, I don't know you, but I like your name and I see you up here. Earl Brownlee, all of y'all are amazing. I don't know how you experience yourself on a day to day basis, but the fact that you exist alone, if you could sit there for a second and think about the fact that you exist, man, just think, I don't even know, besides my daughter and Carol, I don't really know y'all, but just thinking about the fact that you exist makes me want to cry because the chances of you being here, if you really break it down, are very miraculous. And for you to survive for as long as you survived, to be able to engage, even if it's just witnessing on this video, it's so many miracles taking place in order for us to be here in this moment. And we miss out on those miracles. Einstein said that there's two ways of living life, as if everything is a miracle or as if nothing is a miracle. I chose to live as if everything is a miracle, even the things that I don't want to be there. I look for the miraculous in it, knowing that if I can see the miraculous in it, then it will invite in more awareness of the miracles that are happening around me all the time. And you are miracles. And I every day struggle to find the words or the ways or even how I show up so that people can at least for a moment experience that part of themselves and to be in wonder about this experience. And not, we spend so much of our lives, so much of our time in fear of things that may never happen. Yeah, just to quote another white dude with crazy hair, Mark Twain said something to the effect of, um, had like a lot of terrible things that I've experienced in life, some of which actually happened, something to that effect. And basically, what he was meaning was in his mind, he imagined all sorts of terrible things. Some of them actually happened, but we spend so much of our lives trying to protect ourselves. And sadly, yes, I don't like to say this, and I have, like I said, my kids on this video. And some of us miss out on life because of experiences in our upbringing that make us afraid. And then we stay in perpetual fear that something terrible is going to happen. And sometimes terrible things do happen, but also a lot of amazing and beautiful things happen. Many, many amazing, beautiful things happen all day long, and we don't pay attention to those things. We don't think about the fact that we can drive cars. That's something miraculous, man. That we like. We got a car recently because one of our cars, like, it's embarrassing. It's not embarrassing to me, but my kids on the video. I had one car. This car is at like 180 something thousand miles. It beat the heck up because of hail damage, and had no heat, and it's like no air conditioning at 100 some degrees weather, that we had to just suck it up and get a car, right? And now I feel like it's a miracle. I'm so grateful to have air conditioning and some other modern things. The other car was like a 2008 uh, beater, and my other car could not go in reverse. So we had to be very crafty on how we park. That's kind of embarrassing to some degree. But even that's a miracle. Every time we got a parking spot and we didn't get stuck, that was a miracle, man. I was thrilled. The little things. Some of those things can be frustrating in life, but sometimes I frustrate my family because I'll be laughing at stuff that seems like I shouldn't be laughing at. But it's because I understand how many miracles are interconnected in order for us to have any of these experiences. And the parts that we pay attention to seem to be the worst parts because we're trying to protect ourselves from getting hurt. We want to be safe. And I'm going to tell you a secret. Tell everyone we are safe. It doesn't seem like it, because when we're attached to the body and we're attached to the things that are temporary in this world, if you attach to the temporary things, you are not safe and you never will be. But if you connect yourself to the deeper spiritual things of the world, you can't help but be safe, because the reality of who you are is so much bigger than these bodies that we temporarily have. I can't prove this to you. This is something you got to go inside of yourself to connect with. But I'm here to tell you, I had a near death experience when I was a teenager. Doesn't mean qualifies anything for you guys, but I got in a car accident, and when the car was flipping, I'm telling you, it seemed like I was in that car for a month, because time, whatever happened with it, it was slow motion. I was watching stuff moving around. I was thinking about my whole life. I was thinking about the future I thought I was going to have. Went through the whole, just like sitting there, just chilling while the car's crashing, witnessing all of this. And then I thought, I'm probably going to be dead. I wasn't scared at all. I said, I thought I was going to do more with life. Then the last words I thought I was going to have in life was, oh, well. I was like, oh, well. Then everything went black for a second. And then I heard people saying, get out of the car, and woke back up. But I witnessed in that moment how time is like way different than what we think. And who we are is way different than what we think. Because I saw myself flipping around the car, you know, until it stopped. I can't explain that. I'm not going to go all down that journey because I don't know the whatever behind it. But what I can tell you is that who we are is bigger than all these things. And if we allow the bigger part of ourselves to inform this part of ourselves that we express through, which is our temporary body, we will experience life differently. And that's what I'm trying to learn how to articulate. It's been hard because I was trapped in the Christian box for a long time. And so even though it's in the Christian teachings as well, it's harder to access because also we have this veneer of Christianity in America, which is like everybody, if you don't think like us, you're condemned and damned. Not everybody thinks that way, but that's the most popular expression. And we get to be super hypocrites, and no one can tell us because we can tell everybody about themselves, but then we can act like we're the ones that's being oppressed. Not we, I'm talking, you know who I'm talking about. Folks who think like that. So with that entanglement in language, it's been very difficult to articulate some of the things that I've experienced and some of the encounters that I've had. But every single day when I'm looking at life as a miracle, more and more ways to articulate that show up. And sometimes it's a struggle. Sometimes it's hard to find the language to express the depth and the beauty and the freedom and the liberation and all the things that are here present for us that have been contained in our trauma boxes. But I can tell you, as someone who has gone in and out of the trauma boxes many times in my life, as early as this morning, but I know that I can get out of that box if I catch my breath and meditate and stuff like that. I can tell you that there's so much more out here for us if we can learn how to enjoy each other if we can learn how to enjoy ourselves and use that word enjoy, specifically to bring joy to our moments. I know I'm like saying a bunch of stuff and some of it's rambly, and I appreciate some of y'all sticking around to even listen to this. Um, but the whole point of me putting all this out is you. You're the point. You're the point. There's no reason for me to be holding this little microphone in my face and standing on this phone if it wasn't for you. I could just sit in my bathroom and meditate on the toilet if that's what it's all about. I am here for you. And I know that in different ways, y'all are here for me and we're all here for each other. We exist for ourselves in relationship with others. That's what this is all about. And when we keep shutting ourselves down, when we keep living our lives with disappointment management, which is a big thing that we do, like we project our worst case scenarios on almost everything because we're afraid of getting hurt. In life, you're going to get hurt. So there's no point in wasting your energy trying not to get hurt because that's going to happen. It's better to enjoy the moments. And then if that comes up, you prepared yourself to recover. But if you spend all your life bracing yourself, holding your breath, constricting and tightening yourself, and I'm telling you this as a person, I'm not going to get into it too much right now because I said I don't want to spill trauma on people, but I've come from many abuses in my early life, many abuses of different kinds that I had to navigate. And to a point where I 100% did not expect to make it out of my teenage years at all. I thought something was going to get me there. I couldn't imagine. And like some of the things, again, I don't want to spill trauma on folks. What I want to pour out there is liberation. I want to share that it's possible to see the miracles and to expand and to grow and to see beyond these things. That's what I want to say. And one of the challenges is sometimes people might think if you're talking like this, then you've never been through anything. I've been through a lot, but I don't want to focus on that. Not because I'm afraid of it. I already walked through it and I'll visit it again. Like I said with my dad, if I had to, I'll go back and clear up some stuff. But the main focus is you enjoying you living a full life, you experiencing yourself. I used to be a chaplain for a while when I was studying to be a pastor, and I watched some people die. They missed their whole life. They missed their whole life because something happened when they were a kid that they can never let go. And then they projected that onto every relationship that they had so that they never fully experienced the people that were around them. And then they died. And that was it. That was it. My own dad missed out on a bunch of his life. And I was grateful I had a chance to interview him before he died, and he had a chance to touch some of this stuff that maybe when I share some more, and I think I might have I put the sermon that I did at the spiritual center in my Substack. So some of my recent, I think in the beginning, or Become a We. If you look in Substack and you watch Become a We, I talk a little bit about it, and I have a piece of recording of my dad talking. He was able to tap into that, but he was able to tap into that when his body was broken. He could barely move. He was laid up in the bed. What if he would have experienced that when he was younger, when I was younger, when we could have enjoyed some of our life together, more of our life together? What if? I don't want y'all to miss out on that. And I don't want to miss out on it. So all of this is an invitation. I'm going to tell you, I love y'all, even though I don't know, those of y'all I know and those of y'all I don't know. I love you. I hope that you will take just, even if it's 30 seconds, to sit with yourself, to witness your breath, to get out of that box, because there's many moments where you can get out of that box. I know that it's hard to believe that sometimes, but there's many moments where you can get out of that box. Practice getting out of the box. Practice being able to discern who you can be you with and be you as much as you can, because that's what we need. And I'll end with this. Howard Thurman said, don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and go do it, because what the world needs is people who have come alive. It's too many of us walking around here like zombies right now, like literal zombies. Well, not literal, but figurative zombies. Well, we're acting like zombies. We need to stop acting like zombies. We need to come alive. And everything that I'm putting out here is to kind of encourage that, whether it's on Substack or whatever it is I'm doing. I just want you to be alive. I want to be alive with you. Thanks for sitting through this. For those of y'all who've been up here from the beginning, if you got something out of this, I invite you to share it with other people and share the Substack with other people or other things I'm doing, because really, I want us to experience us. I want to go out in the world and just see happy people enjoying themselves. People be like, I used to be a racist, but now I love the niggers. No, I'm just joking. But I want us to just experience ourselves fully, man. There's so much to experience. I really, really want us to experience ourselves fully. Hey, Amin. Oh, this is Samamina, I think. We appreciate you being among the souls who are welcoming during this time. We can rupture the box, inshallah. That's God willing. Sending neighborly love. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I appreciate all of you. Thanks for being here. I'm going to keep putting stuff out here, and sorry for the gaps in the recent month. There's a lot of creation happen. Not all of it made it to Substack. And I'm going to get better at using some of the other tools so that I can engage in between writing. One person that I followed, she calls herself the mediocre woman, does voice notes, so I might do some of that. But at any rate, she actually inspired me too to get up here this morning and just kind of let stuff flow. So shout out to her and to all the beautiful people out here that are creating. All right, take care. Peace.